I want to get to this immediately. This was brought to my attention yesterday. It's so good. It's the epitome of irony. You want to see what irony means. This is it. Howard Stern, back in the day, the 80s, early to mid 90s, you can't find someone more at the top of their game. Irreverent, shocking, huge audience. Young guy, relatively, I remember in the 80s, he was 25 when he got to WNBC. Yeah. When I first started listening to him, he was in Washington. And he comes up to WNBC around 25 years old and just took over the radio world. Everyone listened to Howard. And he had a lot to say about a lot of guys. He would beat the shit out of his enemies. So he did to DeBella in fucking Philly, Mark and Brian. What was that guy? Brandmeier? Jonathan Brandmeier? Johnny B on the loose. I got to tell you something. You had to be petrified if you were a radio guy that was offered a TV show when Howard was at the top of his game. Because you knew it was going to fail, because you knew he was going to shit on it.
Oh, yeah.
And that held weight. That fucking determined what you were going to do. There was this guy, Jonathan Brandmeier. What city was he out of? I want to say Chicago, but it might have been Cleveland. I don't even fucking know. L.A. maybe.
Wasn't there the Philly guy, though, who used to, host
Philly guy
parades?
Was John DeBella.
Yeah.
And he was number one consistently.
Yeah.
The second Howard got syndicated into Philly, he destroyed this fucking guy. Just destroyed him. And we loved it. We loved that he was wrecking this guy's life. Because it was radio. It was Radio Wars. Whatever. It's great. It's Howard. He's our guy. It's fucking awesome. And then, Johnny B on the loose. He had a show. It was called Johnny B on the loose.
Oh, God.
And Howard shit on this thing. Mark and Brian got a TV show. So imagine in the late 80s, early 90s, you're a big radio jock and you're popular. You got people. And it always happens. TV guys come. They did it with us with the XFL.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. I got a giant paycheck to make an idiot of myself for 4 weeks. And it was fantastic. But Brandmeier, Mark and Brian, they get these shows. And then you got to think, Howard is going to destroy this, and people will not watch it. I'm convinced Chevy Chase was a terrible talk show host, but I'm convinced Howard having shit on Chevy and hating him so much had something to do with people's completely negative response to Chevy Chase.
Well, I think it would have. I mean, it would
have failed because he was just terrible.
But I think it would have lasted a little while.
A little longer.
I mean, they pulled that shit after weeks.
A lot of people just went into it hating this fucking guy because Howard hated him. Yeah. You hated who Howard hated. Yeah. I'll take Howard's word. Howard's a lot like me. He's a regular guy. This guy's funny. I joke with my friends like this. If he says the guy's an asshole, I think he's an asshole. That's how we thought being Stern fans in the late 80s, early 90s. It's what it was. The guy, you can never take that from him. The guy fucking had the world by the balls as far as radio went.
Up until, 10 years ago?
Up until probably a little longer. I think Jackie leaving had a giant problem. That was a giant problem. Although Artie was just huge.
I mean, him and Artie were amazing, though.
But it was constant conflict. The conflict between Howard and Jackie was very fun and funny. It got serious at times, but the conflict between Artie and Howard was very serious at times.
And then there was a lot of anger between just several people in the studio.
A lot of people.
Yeah. It was very dramatic.
And by the way, entertaining as fuck. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Entertaining as a motherfucker. But it was a different vibe than the original Howard Stern show with those original players.
Oh, they even had it lit darker than when Jackie was on.
It was barely.
Yeah, it was barely lit. Yeah.
It was barely lit. But it was funny. It was kind of undergroundy still. And, I remember listening to Howard when you didn't know what him or Robin or anyone looked like. That was how it was. There was no internet. He would start doing talk shows like Letterman later on, but he wasn't doing them when he got to NBC. You couldn't punch up Washington, D.C. pictures. So occasionally you'd see in the paper, you see Howard Stern comes to WNBC, and you'd look and go, who's this fucking, look at his Jew fro and his porn mustache and shit. But you listen to him be like, this is fucking awesome. Robin's black? Remember that? Everyone, Robin's black? What? People lost their minds. I can't tell you. People that don't remember this, I can't tell you how shocking it was when people actually learned that Robin Quivers was a black woman. It freaked everyone out.
She played the greatest card ever, which was like, that dude's talented. I'm just going to stay with him.
Especially Jim Florentine.
Yes.
He couldn't believe that Robin was black. It's all pink on the inside. It's all pink on the inside.
Oh, gosh.
I love him.
I don't blame him. I mean, that's.
But it was, fucking, what are you going to do? You're into that. Yeah, it's a fucking prize.
Doorway to Stern.
That's right. The pink flapping doorway to Stern.
Yeah.
The pink flapping afro-haired doorway to Howard. But he was everything it was. We loved listening to him ragging people. Larry King fucking got destroyed. Like I said, Chevy got destroyed. All the talk show guys, Johnny Carson, he would do bits. They were just hilariously funny. And he would goof on Don Imus. Mm-hmm. Don Imus, his nemesis. He never actually, until Imus went to the Fan, he wasn't up against Imus. It was just what it was. Howard was doing afternoons at WNBC, and Imus was doing mornings. And then middays was Soupy Sales.
Was it really?
Oh, it was Soupy Sales. It was the show was so terrible. But you know how, and this is how ratings work sometimes. I would listen to Imus in the morning, and then Howard in the afternoon. And just out of laziness, I guess, you leave the station on. So I'd hear 4 hours of Soupy fucking Sales.
How long was Soupy Sales on?
He was on a couple of years.
I would say he's from Detroit, and we didn't have that syndicated, but we did have Howard.
Howard
was
so
huge in our market until he was fired.
Yeah. No, you didn't
he worked there, though.
Yeah,
and then was fired. Like, that was one of the places that he bounced from.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, he had a soft spot for like 5 or 6 cities around the country.
Markets that were huge. Yeah. Boston, he fucking loved Boston. He went to college up there. Yep. He was told by so many people that he would be a failure in radio, so he wanted to be in Boston.
For sure.
Philly was huge because he wanted to kill DeBella, and it's a close New York market. Washington, D.C. That's your lineup. The Wolfman, Jack, ladies and gentlemen. I think Wolfman took over at 7. He did the...
And what happened? Throat cancer took over at 8?
Yeah, throat cancer, baby, on the midnight special.
Howling to keep my life. Praying.
Oh, yeah, Don Imus, Howard, of course, Soupy Sales over there, and, the Wolfman. That was your WNBC lineup.
Howard grew his hair like Imus.
If we weren't so bad... Yeah, we wouldn't be so good. That was like their catchphrase, all the commercials. So he was doing afternoons. So when he went over to K-Rock, he got fired from WNBC. You've seen Private Parts. It was interesting. Not all factual based, but he did get fired from WNBC.
Yes.
He was picked up by Mel Karmazin and this little station, WXRK, in New York City, a failing rock station. Mornings, and the rest is unbelievable history and wealth for everyone involved.
Oh, yeah.
And he ragged on Imus so bad.
The Whack Pack.
Yeah, well, not the Whack Pack. Yeah, if we weren't so bad, we wouldn't be so good. WNBC. Hey, porno mustache, how you doing?
Wow.
You know what's funny? In Private Parts, the morning guy, it was weird. It was the overnight guy in Detroit. And he's like, hey, look, Big Bird's making his way in. Hey, Big Bird, how you doing, Big Bird?
Yeah.
And I was just, okay. First of all, that would never happen.
Yeah.
But that guy was based on Imus. It wasn't like whoever that was. That was more of your Imus guy, because Howard wanted more Imus in there than just fuck off.
Yeah.
And slamming the door,
star on
which
the
is
door.
hilarious, by the way, because that probably is exactly what Imus did.
Yeah.
But Howard was shitting on Imus on NBC when he was the morning guy and Howard was the afternoon guy, which is funny because when we were on the same station, Howard would shit on us for shitting on him. Like, we would shit on him and he'd get mad and run to management.
Yeah, and you guys did.
Imus did.
Hampton Howie.
A lot of things Howard did, and you'll see in this clip, it's astounding, he ended up doing. A lot of things he was pissed at, he ended up just doing as he went along in his career. But he goofed on Imus relentlessly. We all know that if you're a Stern fan. It's never mentioned in this clip, but he's talking about Don Imus. Imus being old, getting a young wife, leaving his other wife and kids and all that. A lot of people thought it was Larry King, but it's Imus.
The ending of Private Parts is him talking about spending the rest of his life with
Allison.
Yeah, and then he got divorced like 3 days after the premiere.
The movie's done.
Incredible.
And he's just fucking...
I'll see you later.
It was, that was kind of the downfall, too, because every dude that was married and maybe a little miserable and had to go into the basement to get a little time of his own and jerk off to porn, all those stories Stern would tell would be so relatable to his audience.
Oh, for sure.
So when he got that divorce that none of his fans are able to get, especially with 3 kids, and you got a trophy wife, you're fucking supermodels that come on your show, and then you bed down and marry this girl who's very attractive, much younger than yourself. People are probably going to think like, how much of the rest is bullshit, you know?
Sure.
And I think that was a big turning point in how the fans looked at Howard. And I think time going by and getting older is just part of it. Like, understandably, radio isn't the same thing. Shock jocks are a fucking dinosaur, being outrageous. So, he had a change in that respect. But I really think it's that he almost, in a weird way, betrayed his audience by not being that guy that they all could relate to every morning and wake up and go, oh, he had to get up. He's like, oh, fuck.
Of course.
That seems to be what happened. But he railed on Imus one day, and he's talking about him, and someone put this clip together. It's not edited. This is one fucking rant that he did on Imus, and it's literally Howard talking about himself now. It's Howard now. Howard years ago, this clip has to be from late 80s, early 90s, looking into the future and talking about Howard now. It's amazing. Check it out.
Imagine you're a young woman in the prime of your life, and this woman must have been desperate for some sort of fame or money or something to marry such a slug. A man who abandoned his wife and 3 children, miserable wretch. Of course, wants a trophy wife because his self-esteem is so low. He needs one. He needs a trophy wife. Every guy would love a trophy wife, but he needs one because he's a filthy pig. And his career, I mean, what's it like to have once been the #1 guy in New York? What's it like to have your ratings, your self-esteem, and everything ripped away? So you've got to find a young woman who somehow can feed your ego. But every night when he climbs on top of her, he knows.
You think it's every night?
Yeah, maybe not. Well, every morning, I don't care how much money he has, every morning. Oh. I mean, the corpse that he is, that poor young girl has to spread her legs every morning is Halloween. She has Halloween, the horror of Halloween.
What kind of monster is going to be in bed with me this
There's no trick. There's no treat. There's only a trick when he gets in bed. It's a trick. It's a cruel trick. I'm sure when she was growing up and she was so beautiful, her parents said, gee, one day...
I thought she had an illustrious future ahead of her.
Well, I guess she opted for the cash.
Holy fuck. Dude, when I saw that, I'm like, how did they do this? Like, is it a deep fake or what? No, this is Howard talking about Don Imus years ago. And... holy shit, dude. That's fucked up. I love that. And then it's funny too, because like every night's Halloween. And you hear Jackie go, whoop! He just barks. Yeah. Whoop! The Jackie bark. Oh, brutal. He was petrified. We're talking about this.
Oh, yeah.
Petrified of being that. And I think back when he originally did that and was talking about this, he was looking, because we all assess ourselves and wonder what the coming years will bring. He had to look at that and go, well, what the fuck am I going to be at that age? And, you know, what am I going to be doing? And it probably petrified him.
Yeah.
So he just did exactly what he said right there.
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, whoever put that together is brilliant. I think it was Artie. Artie Lang put
it together, just sent it over.
I'm sure it wasn't Stuttering John.
Yeah, yeah, well, no.
I take that, Howard.
Yeah, Artie's still apologizing. And it's like,
I don't think... Well, Artie goes from shitting all over him to apologizing.
Yeah, he's one or the other.
That's just part of, the
Well, that's how their dynamic was on the show.
Yes, every day they could be best of friends or worst of enemies.
Yeah, and I think in reality, I mean, he's called him, the Johnny Carson of his generation. I think in reality, he really knows he fucked up. That's why Artie's gotten worse.
Yeah.
And that's what's sad.
Jackie knows that too.
Oh, Jackie fucked up. He knows that.
Jackie knows he fucked up. It's one of those situations where you have the world by the balls. I think a lot of people might take that for granted and think like, oh, I'll do this. Oh, wow, so many people are coming. Like, because Jackie had so many people coming to his gigs. So many people coming to his gigs. Because he's plugging them on the Howard Stern show.
Right.
And then when that ended, it was a bad time for Jackie. I've talked to him about it.
No, I remember him talking about it on...
He's doing great now. Don't get me wrong. Jackie's doing great. He's
he made money.
Loving life. He's doing the Opie Radio podcast. I'm kidding.
But
he's doing very well.
But I do remember him saying on Opie and Anthony that like you get used to living this certain lifestyle and then you realize that you took it away from yourself.
Yeah.
Some version of that, he said.
Yes.
And you do. I mean, if you make more money and then it's gone, because you're not spending and he's like, I wasn't spending for the future.
No.
Because you have a contract and you,
That's what happens. So. Yeah, fucked up. But wow, that video is just chilling.
So weird.
Chilling.
The world's changed though so much in just a short amount of time. I can't grasp it.
Think about it.
My whole life has just been people were having fun and now we're all upset about it.
Yeah.
That's all.
It was all really fun.
Yeah.
Everything was fodder for joking and comedy and then the brakes got put on.
And it's just...
And now you try to be funny or irreverent or cutting edge or shocking even. And man, there's a price to pay.
You go outside with just your face.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.